Let's be real for a second. When somebody says North Africa, your brain probably goes straight to the pyramids of Egypt, right? Or maybe the bustling markets in Morocco.
Exactly. And Algeria? It usually just gets treated like this massive blank expanse of desert that you kind of just scroll right past on the map.
But what if we told you that you've been completely overlooking an absolute titan? We're talking about a country of staggering scale, incredible ancient history, and a cultural influence that has quietly shaped the modern world in ways you would never expect.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're pulling back the curtain and uncovering Algeria, the giant hiding in plain sight.
So be honest, if we handed you a totally blank map of the world right now, could you actually point to Algeria? Look, don't worry if you're drawing a blank. You are definitely not alone. It's genuinely one of the most overlooked places on Earth. But here's the first rapid reveal for you. Algeria is actually the largest country in Africa. Now, it didn't always hold that title. For a long time, Sudan was the biggest. But when Sudan split into two separate countries back in 2011, Algeria quietly slid right up into that #1 spot on the continent. Oh, and not only that, it officially became the 10th largest country on the entire planet. Crazy, right?
Yeah, and to really wrap your head around what 10th largest on Earth actually means, you've got to compare it to something familiar, like Western Europe.
It is honestly mind-blowing. You could literally take France, Spain, Germany, Italy, the UK, and several other neighboring countries, mash them all together like a giant puzzle, and the whole shebang would still fit completely inside Algeria's borders.
Right? It's just a jaw-dropping amount of territory for a place that almost never comes up in everyday conversation. But here is the wild part. Despite having a landmass larger than all of Western Europe combined, 91% of Algeria's population is squeezed onto just 12% of the land.
Yeah, that super dense slice is this beautiful, narrow Mediterranean coastal strip up north.
Meanwhile, nearly 3/4 of the entire country, that vast interior, is almost completely empty. So you have this incredible geographical paradox, right? Overwhelming massive space, but intensely concentrated human life. Which brings us to Section 2. Defying desert stereotypes, Mars, snow, and giants.
So, leaving that crowded Mediterranean coast behind, we head down into the deep interior. Now, when you hear Sahara Desert, you're probably picturing endless, rolling golden sand dunes straight out of a Hollywood movie.
But the reality? Massive, sprawling chunks of Algeria's desert are actually these dark, rocky, volcanic landscapes. Honestly, it looks way closer to the surface of Mars than any typical postcard image you've ever seen.
And here's the real kicker. It occasionally snows there. Seriously, the temperature dynamics get so extreme that snow will actually fall right onto the sand and volcanic rock. It's a phenomenon so incredibly rare and just visually stunning that it makes global headlines whenever it happens.
But hey, don't get us wrong. Where there is sand, it is absolutely extreme. We're talking 465 meters high. The Issouanana Tifernin sand sea over in eastern Algeria holds the largest sand dunes in all of Africa. To put that 465 meters into perspective, these dunes are significantly taller than the Empire State Building, and they're made entirely of shifting sand. Yeah, they reach elevations of 2,000 meters above sea level and stretch out across an area roughly the size of Kentucky. The scale is just, it's almost impossible to fully comprehend. And to survive that kind of extreme environment, the wildlife out there has to adapt in these incredible, almost alien ways. Take the fennec fox, which is native to the Algerian Sahara. It's actually the world's smallest canine, but it has these enormous, oversized ears. And those aren't just for super hearing. They basically act like biological air conditioners, dissipating extreme body heat to keep the little guy alive. Yeah, and much like a camel, this tiny fox can survive for days without drinking a single drop of water. Plus, they aren't alone out there. This intensely harsh habitat is also one of the absolute last remaining strongholds for the critically endangered Saharan cheetah. Life here doesn't just endure, it completely innovates. Moving on to Section 3, Echoes of Ancient Empires. From prehistoric art to modern nations. Underneath all that vast landscape lies a deeply layered record of human civilization. The country actually boasts 7 distinct UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Going back over 10,000 years, ancient humans were recording their lives in prehistoric rock art at Tassili, Niger. Jump forward a bit and you'll find the perfectly preserved Roman city of Timgad, which is essentially a grid-planned metropolis that was buried and protected by desert sands for centuries.
Moving into the 17th century, the history takes a dramatic shift. Algerian corsairs became some of the most feared pirates in the world. And they didn't just patrol the Mediterranean. They were so wide-ranging that they raided European coastlines as far away as Iceland and even occupied the town of Baltimore in Ireland, taking hundreds captive.
Finally, in the modern era, from 1830 to 1962, Algeria was subjected to over 130 years of colonial rule by France. This defining period ended only after a brutal 8-year war for independence, which ultimately resulted in the sovereign nation we see today. Because of that 130-year colonial era, the profound legacy of French rule is still highly visible today, particularly when it comes to language. While Arabic is the official language, French remains deeply embedded and widely used across the entire country. It serves as a primary language in business, higher education, and the media. This dual linguistic reality is a direct historical footprint that continues to run through every layer of modern Algerian society.
Which leads us nicely into Section 4. Unexpected global footprints, cultural ripples you didn't know about.
Okay, so this is where Algeria's hidden influence really starts to blow your mind. While you might not hear about the country in your daily newsfeed, Algeria has secretly shaped global pop culture and aesthetics that you probably engage with all the time.
Here's a massive reveal. One of history's most revolutionary fashion designers, the man who permanently transformed women's fashion across the globe, Yves Saint Laurent, was actually born in the coastal city of Oran, Algeria, back in 1936.
And this wasn't just his place of birth, it was his foundational inspiration. The colors, the incredible light, the vibrant textures of his Algerian roots profoundly influenced his entire design aesthetic throughout his legendary career in Paris and beyond. Algeria's visual identity literally walked the runways of the world.
And those cultural ripples cross straight over from high fashion right into legendary music history. But to understand how, you first need to know what a Kasbah actually is. Basically, it's an ancient hilltop citadel. And the Kasbah of Algiers, which is the capital city, is this absolutely stunning, labyrinthine UNESCO World Heritage Site.
But here is the fascinating twist. That specific Algerian citadel served as the direct inspiration for the iconic rebellious punk anthem Rock the Kasbah by The Clash. That song didn't just top the charts, it permanently embedded an Algerian geographic term into the global vocabulary of popular music forever. No way you saw that connection coming.
So as you can see, Algeria isn't just some blank space on a map. It's a country of staggering scale and buried treasures. We're talking about a nation bigger than Western Europe, boasting towering Martian landscapes, deeply layered ancient civilizations, and profound modern cultural influence.
It really does reframe Algeria as one of the world's most completely overlooked and underestimated countries, which leaves us with a provocative question to really chew on. If a country this massive has been hiding all of this in plain sight, what else are we completely missing?
Thanks for joining us on this explainer. Keep exploring and stay curious.